Welcome to this very interesting conversation with PNC Menon, one of the stalwarts of the real estate industry, and for a channel like ours, someone who can actually lead the path going forward when India struggles at what might be a very difficult time for the real estate industry. Mr. Menon, thank you so much for making time for us. It's a pleasure to have you here. Like I was saying, it's a challenging time for the Indian real estate industry across the board, across all cities. Your company is present in most cities. You stayed out of Mumbai so far. I understand there are plans to enter Mumbai in the future. If you were to list out what the major problems were at this time, and what in your mind is the solution for the real estate industry? We're seeing sales numbers slow down. Debt is being borrowed at astronomically high rates. The industry is having trouble delivering on time, delivering quality. What do you think are the main issues we're facing in India right now?
I think there is demand because of the population, but people are not taking the decision to cut the check. That's one of the reasons I would say that, it is sentiment, driven by sentiment. Something price is going to come down. Sentiment unfortunately cannot be controlled by anybody.
Right.
Neither seller or the buyer. And I will say that we are going through in real estate business, there are two things, negative and positive sentiment. Now it is negative sentiment. For the last, it started in second half of 14 and whole of 15. And I think we see that. I think my belief is that by the end of this year, things should change.
On what basis will things change by the end of this year?
By the end of this year, I feel, because negative cycle has been there for almost 2 years. And I put the Indian cycle as about 3 years positive cycle and 2 years negative cycle. And that we have to accept. It's a very cyclical business.
So even within Shobha, if we looked at the numbers that came out this quarter, the sales numbers look weaker than they were the previous quarter. What's your game plan right now? What's the advice you're giving your management team when they're handling this market? If you say you believe it's going to turn around in the next couple of quarters, what sort of advice are you giving your team at this point?
I think for me, it's a very strong, but still they're buyers. And the good marketing is very, very important. Shobha produces, as far as Shobha is concerned, we produce world-class quality in India. And so that I feel that somewhere we are not, we are understated. So we have got to make enough efforts to state the product properly. We don't have to overstate too. And the emphasis on marketing is very critical for Shobha. And I still believe that, there are a lot of buyers sitting outside also. Outside the country, which is mainly Gulf and other parts of the world. So India is a long-term story. And
is it possibly a crisis of confidence in the real estate industry? Not specifically with Shobha, but across the industry in general. If you think there is demand, there is a shortage of housing, but people are just not willing to cut that check at this point.
See, sometimes, when you delay projects, people, at the end of the day, it's hard-earned money. So proper companies which can deliver on time, the right quality, will have a great future in this country, because India has got population of 1.25 billion people, and the aspiration, the wealth is increasing in the middle end of the spectrum. And I think there'll be a lot of buyers. Every year we'll have many buyers coming in, and the aspiration home is an aspiration.
So outside of the south, you've only entered the Pune and the Gurgaon market so far. I know you have a plan to enter Mumbai in the future. Tell us what the national plan is for Shobha in terms of expansion.
The national plan is, the main cities of India, Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai and Delhi. This is very important for us. Other than Mumbai, we have entered the rest of the markets, and hopefully another 2 years or 3 years we should be in Mumbai too. My outlook of the business is, it is better to limit to 8 or 12 cities of India. We are currently doing three places in Kerala, which is Thrissur, Kochi and Calicut, and then we do Coimbatore. We are also looking at Mumbai as an additional, and we are in Chennai, and we are in Pune, we are in Delhi. With that, I don't think we have any plan for expansion of the geography.
Okay.
This itself, for a targeted 10 million square feet annual sale, during the positive cycle, it is possible, provided you plan. Your financial structure should be very proper. You know, I always believe that, you know, the equity to debt, equity, if it is 1, the debt should not be more than half.
Your debt is currently at 0.81 in Shuba National.
We are close to less than, of course, less than half. We are less than half the, I mean 1 to 1, half equity.
Yes.
I will say that, you know, 1 to 0.33 is the advisable.
Would you say
we are at 1 to 0.45, 46 now? Yes.
You're also expanding into hospitality, from what I understand. You've been in commercial and residential so far. Are there other areas of real estate that you're looking at as well?
Hospitality, not from the Shobha India.
Okay.
It's
Globally?
outside the country.
Okay. Where will you be looking at doing hospitality?
We are already looking at 2 projects. We got the piece of land. Drawings are getting ready, and we should be starting construction hopefully by the first half of next year.
Is this Dubai or Abu Dhabi? You're looking at London as well?
It is Dubai only. Both the projects are in Dubai.
Both the projects are in Dubai. What about the plans for your London expansion?
We are looking at London seriously. We are partnered with a British family. It's a 50-50. We call the company Shobha Europe. And we should be, hopefully, because the market is slow there also. We should be launching it by the second half of next year.
From your Dubai business, your Maidan project and your Heartland project are massive, ambitious, also I must say very beautiful plans. Tell us a little more about these projects and where you expect the sales to come in from. Is it largely, we understand Indian citizens have become very strong buyers in the Dubai market. Is that where you're expecting the money to come from, or is it going to come in from across the world?
See, if you really look at from a general perspective, 150 nationalities buy in Dubai. We have got probably over 200,000 countries in the world.
Sure.
And out of which almost 75% they are there in Dubai buying property. So, but as far as I am concerned, if you really look at the percentage of Indian buyers, it's almost 25 to 30% of the total sale.
Right.
So Indians are very important for the Dubai market. And I, being an original Indian, I feel that we have to tap that as a first resource of selling to Shobha products, to selling to Indians.
In our recent visits to the Dubai market, we discovered that a lot of the people who are constructing in Dubai right now are focusing on Indian buyers or people of Indian origin at least, because the money from other countries are beginning to dry up. Is that true?
It's not true.
Okay.
Even today, you know, people from Saudi Arabia, from the Gulf countries, from the Middle East, Africa, CS countries, all of them come and buy.
Is there a risk there with the crude prices being where they are right now? The money from coming in from Saudi Arabia or from other Gulf countries might dry up as well?
I don't think money will dry up. You know, individually people are already rich. They got their investment within the country, outside the country. Like, you know, it's not old country. Saudi Arabia has been rich for at least last 40 years. So people are already rich. They've got enough wealth. They've invested well. So current scenario of oil prices will come back again. We have seen many a times, you know, oil prices coming down. So I will say that Saudis and the other Gulf investors, because if you really look at what is the speciality of Dubai, it's about, you know, it is a magnet for 3 billion people. Indian subcontinent, Africa and the Middle East put together, we've got 3 billion people. If you really look at the city which has been created, you have been there many times. The city which is created is an unusual city. There's no other city in this 3 billion geographical area. There's no other city which is comparable. When I look at, is there a possibility for a city coming up like Dubai in the next 10 years in any of these geographies? I would say no. Yeah.
So let's actually learn from Dubai. You function within that market, and I know that within this market, where your son runs the business, one of the things that causes a great deal of pain for the industry are construction permits, are environment clearances, just generally the ease of doing business when it comes to building in India. In Dubai, you have a real estate regulator that's functioning very well from what I understand. What can we learn from that market? What do we need here?
Here, of course, you know, we have been operating for the last 21 years. We can bring in many excuses to say that this is possible, this is not possible, that's not. Overall, I think within our country's culture, we are okay. I will not say that it's very difficult, it's impossible. We have been here for 21 years. I came from outside the country to do the business here. I don't think I have any complaint.
You have no complaints at all?
Because certain things are very slow, but not that slow. So long as you don't deviate, so long as you don't do things which are not right, I think it is not that difficult to get
in comparison to Dubai?
Compared to Dubai, of course, Dubai is much better. It's faster.
So if you're saying, you yourself said that you don't envision another city like Dubai coming up in the neighborhood for a while. If India were to learn to move things faster, obviously, geographically, Dubai is a much smaller space to regulate from a regulation point of view. Geographically, we're talking about a massive space in India. But if we were to learn to regulate better or to improve the ease of doing business, do you foresee Indian real estate or Indian construction, Indian vision for construction moving much faster?
See, once you regulate, at least confidence for the people who invest in the project, it'll become, because it's very hard-earned money, and middle class and upper middle class. The money is very important for them. They cannot be let down. The regulatory authority could possibly control. Some amount of control should come to the real estate industry in this country, and that is on the way already. Yeah.
There's been some, again, some argument about what sort of a role the regulator should take. In one view, there's a possibility we might get a regulator who looks at things slightly retrospectively. So even projects that have been launched that are under construction will suddenly need to be re-registered and brought in. Do you think that if a regulator does come in, it should only be prospective, it should not look at things retrospectively?
I agree with it. It should not be from the rear side. It should come from a cut-off date forward, not backward. Retrospective thing is not proper.
The other thing that we're looking forward to now is the budget that will be announced at the end of the month by our finance minister. Again, one of the demands that the industry has had is that industry that contributes about 6% of our GDP from real estate should be given industry status. Do you think it's high time that happens as well?
I think it is important also to make sure that it is given a proper status. Anywhere in the world, real estate is a very, very important part of the GDP, not only in India. And it is treated very beautifully. Unless unless it's regulated properly, we need regulatory authority to come into the picture. Regulate the whole thing. It is necessary for the best interest of the right kind of business people.
So you think that if the real estate industry is given that industry status and we have a regulator come in, then a lot of the problems will get ironed out, confidence will come back into this market?
100% it's going to help. Especially, you look at the investors, investing from 20 lakhs a home or 10 lakhs a home up to whatever it could be, especially in the mid, up to 1 crore. It's hard-earned money.
I grew up in Bangalore, and I remember looking at the Shobha brand always as a brand that sort of envisages a certain amount of quality and luxury. But I understand that you're also now looking at the affordable housing space, both in Dubai and in India. Tell us about your plans.
See, actually my son started that. I should give the credit to him. I never believed in, because I always believed that I'm not capable of doing it. But he believed differently, and he started the affordable. And we got the precast factory very properly set up. I don't know whether you have seen it. It's world class. And there is a possibility of doing, but the market is also huge. So he has entered, and I think we have become very successful in it. We will start delivery. And my only requirement is the quality cannot be compromised. Right. You can have lower specification, but very high quality.
How do you keep the margins then? If you make the same quality as you do your luxury housing, where are the margins for the business?
No, the thing is specification and quality. You can have a higher specification and very good quality. People mistake the specification and quality, Specification, for example, you can put a tile which is about 30 rupees a square foot. You can put a tile which is 150 rupees a square foot. But if it is 150 rupees a square foot, tile is not placed properly. If you don't do the workmanship properly, it's a bad quality job, high specification. But wherein you can put a 30 rupees tile and then do it properly. And then it's a low specification, good quality. Product is low specification, it's cheaper. Right. It's not useless. True. It depends. Like we buy clothes, we buy shoes, everything is possible. The spectrum is very broad.
I also wanted to ask you, obviously, when you talk about the fact that the lack of regulation sort of stems the confidence a little bit in India, there are several people who are looking to make an investment in real estate right now, who are, who aren't really sure what to do or where to do it. Would you recommend the Dubai market?
Dubai is a very good place because the reason is that's the only sustainable city in the whole of Middle East. There is no other city. Sustainable means it is a long-term story. It's not overnight magic. It's highly regulated. It's very well regulated. Post 2008, they regulated the market, and it is one of the best cities of the world. It's the best mix of East and West.
There is a little bit of a feeling that Dubai is in a double-dip recession right now, that it's after 2008 and 9 looking at maybe another slump.
See, 2008 was a very peculiar year in the human history. It was close to a depression. You understand? The whole world went to a spin at that point of time. The current situation is completely different.
How so?
Because, it is a cyclical slowdown. Right. It's not something which we saw when it was a shock and people did not know how long it will take for it to recover. Here we have clarity. Business, during the negative cycle also, business happens. At least 30 to 40% of what you could sell in a positive market, you can sell in the negative cycle also. In 2008-9, it was completely dead. It was completely negative, nothing, no business was happening. Today it's completely different. We can never compare the 2008 again. Prices, on those days, prices came down by about 50 to 60%. You cannot dream that kind of situation to happen in Dubai again at all. I can tell you that. There were many speculators in 2008-9. Government brought in many regulations to make sure that you reduce the speculators or completely make sure that they are not in the marketplace. For example, the government brought in a regulation. The moment you buy an apartment, you have to register it by paying a 4% registration fee. That's a very good move. And secondly, you cannot flip it unless you pay 50% of the. Otherwise, you used to go buy in the morning, sell in the afternoon. Yes. Make 2%, 5%, 10%, 20% even. All that speculation really hurt the sentiment of the market. Today it's different, beautifully regulated, and people who are buying, mostly people who buy, investors who are single investors, or people who want to use the property.
What's your advice to people who are investing in real estate in India right now?
I will say that India, because of the population, because of growth, we are still growing at about 7% plus. And this country has got a consumer population also, and it is changing. India is changing, and I have a feeling the next 25 years, it will be a completely different country.
If I were to ask you about your vision right now for Shobha in India, at least, where do you see the company going forward in the next 6 years?
We feel that there is a potential for Shobha in a positive cycle. Again, positive, negative cycle. We got an opportunity. India has got a potential for Shobha to give to a business of 10 million square feet in the geographies that we are doing currently. There is a possibility. We got to reach there. It will take about 5 to 6 years to reach there.
I also want to ask you right now about the fact that there's a lot of talk, and we heard it from the RBI governor himself, where he said that the real estate prices are too high. He said, I did my bit, I brought down the rates, now it's time for the industry to bring down their prices. Do you believe that our prices are overheated or too high, and there's a need to bring them down before the end consumer can afford a home?
I think the only place I felt the prices are too high is Mumbai, which is not realistic. This I used to feel. Bangalore is very, very proper. Delhi is proper. The rest of the geographies, it's realistic.
Is that why you've stayed out of the Mumbai market for so long?
That's not the reason. We thought we'll come slowly to Mumbai market. Okay. And we are very keen, but unless we get the right parcel of land, we will not do it. But I have a feeling we should be here in the next 2 to 3 years.
The other question I want to ask you, and again, this is, it's a very stark comparison to, say, a market like Dubai. And that is the services that we receive as citizens from our local government. Now, we've seen people in Bangalore, Whitefield particularly, then Sarjapur Road, go out into the streets demanding basic services, saying we want roads, we don't want to get stuck in traffic, we want clean air, we want clean water. We've had that problem in Delhi with pollution, we've had that problem in Mumbai lately, the air is just not fit to breathe. And citizens generally feel that the kind of money I pay to live in one of our cities, we don't get the services that we deserve as citizens. Is there a disconnect there between what our national government is saying in terms of vision and what's actually being carried out in our cities?
I think we have, what you said is very right, because, we've got very poor infrastructure, roads or water or electricity. Today, I think electricity is getting sorted out. We have the central grid. We are almost there. And I am very optimistic about India. It may not be an overnight miracle. I have a feeling that next 10 to 15 years, to 25 years, India will be one of the best places to live. And we are a great country also. We've got very honest people.
What's the missing link? Because we've been a country of honest people for 60 years. What's missing right now for us to arrive at?
The political will, I will say the political will is missing. We got to drive it, all these countries which are prosperous, like Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, the leader, Mohammed bin Rashid of Dubai, a great leader with a vision and ability to deliver. We need leaders who can deliver. Of course, we are a democratic country. We got our own challenges. But still, I will say that, somebody will have to come. And all the districts, I will say that we have got 650 districts in India. And we got to make sure that each district should have some kind of a, we can say this district can do this. And implement a 10 or 15 or 20-year program on a timely basis, not on per plan on paper. It's important that we need the political will to execute whatever we talk.
You're an icon for us, at least in the real estate industry. I want you to give out some advice to any entrepreneur who's watching right now, who wants to know, obviously these are tough times. How do you get through tough times like this?
I will say that, you have to be tough. When the days get tough gets going. That's you got to be tough. You got to make yourself, you work hard, and you have to have clear map, what exactly you want to do. Plan it properly. Planning is very important. Financial engineering is the most important component of real estate business. I will say that, all my friends and myself, I will say that we should have a discipline over a period of time to make sure that debt should not be more than half of the equity. That's it.
And if you were to, you did of course give some advice to buyers at this point, but there'll be a lot of home buyers who are holding on to their home loans in one hand, their down payment in the other hand, waiting, saying, okay, maybe the prices will come down. I will wait till the prices come down. What's your advice to them, and how do they make sure that they don't wind up in a situation where the building is half done and they have no home? What's your advice to someone who's looking to buy a home to live in?
You've got to go to reliable developers. There are many of them in India today, proven, who have delivered their products. The customers will have to make a choice that you should go to a reliable developer, who could be new, could be old, that they should make the judgment to go to the reliable person or reliable developer.
All right, Mr. Menon, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank
It was a pleasure to have this conversation.
Thank you very much.
I wish you good luck.
Thank you.